As many of you have heard, hospitals and other care providers are desperately in need of PPE, personal protective equipment. Today I'm going to share a concept for how to create a respirator using some household items. So I'm going to put the respirator on just to show you the basic functionality, how it fits initially. Okay, so this design right here is made using a vacuum bag, a zip tie, and 2 rubber bands. Okay? Now, one thing about the vacuum bag, you might be wondering, why are you using a vacuum bag material? So coronavirus is about 0.3 microns. When it is contained on mucus, the droplet formation, it's about 2 microns. So you need a filter that has sub-micron filtration capability. Vacuum cleaners are able to do that. They have sub-micron filtering built in, but they also allow for high airflow, which is also required for a respirator device. So that's the reason that we're using this material. There are some other household materials that can be used, and we'll post a link on what some of those materials might be. So the first step is you need a template, okay? So that this template has been designed in CAD, a computer-aided design. It's a flat pattern that is used, and this has a number of folds that will be implemented in order to create the respirator design. So over here, this is the CAD model. We will post this design. Basically, it has all of the dimensions built into it. It has all of the fold lines. So we will post this as a PDF format so that you're able to print it out. We'll also post it as a vector format and a native SolidWorks file in case people want to try to improve this design. So here is here's how it's printed out. We designed it so that it's able to be printed on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You typically want to transfer this onto a harder cardstock, something that's a little bit more durable. So I did that on basically a cardboard stock here. And so we're going to use this as a stencil. This is the vacuum bag material. Okay, I basically cut it out so that it's all flat. There's a single ply of material on here, and we're going to be able to get a bunch of these respirator designs off of one single vacuum cleaner bag. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to hold this down and then trace it. So when you're going through that stenciling process, it's really important that you try not to move the stencil, or else it's going to throw off all of the lines. You also want to make sure that you mark where each of these holes are going to be. So that's the first step. The second step is we're going to basically cut it out here. Okay, so we have our basic shape. Now we're going to take a hole puncher and we're going to punch out every one of these holes. Okay, so now we have that template with all of the holes cut out from it. Now we're going to do some of the basic origami. So first we're going to fold it in half. And these holes are really useful because they help you line up exactly where the halfway point is. So just try to get those holes nice and lined up like that. Now we're going to take these holes here and we're going to match them. So these top 2 holes, we're going to match them with these 2 holes here, okay? So we're going to fold them over and get them right aligned. As close as you can get. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? Now we're going to flip it over and do the same thing just to get that crease lined up nicely. Okay, so we have that crease there. Now what we're going to do is we have to invert this section. So this is going to be inverted. Okay, so you see how the inside section is inverted there? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we have to flatten this top section. So this, need to flatten it out. So I hold the end here with my 2 fingers and then I push down on this bridge here. And again, those holes should be pretty nicely lined up. Use them as your guides. Okay, so it's just like that. Then we're going to fold this back up again. Now we're going to take this little leg here and we're going to fold it up. Again, get that hole to match up. So we'll take that leg here, get that to fold up, and then we'll do the same thing with each of these other layers. You can do it all at once. So just flip it back over. I'm going to do one at a time. It's a little bit more accurate this way. Okay, so now we've got these pieces on the inside, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this tip here and we're going to invert this. So this gets inverted. And again, those holes are still lined up. We'll do the same thing with this side. This hole is lined up. Okay, so you see how we have those inverted folds there. Okay, and then that last one we're going to do is this inside version. Okay, so we have all of those little shark fins that are inside here. Okay, now all of those holes are lined up. You should be able to see a little bit of daylight through each one of those. And now we're going to take our zip tie, if I can find it. Okay, and we're going to send this zip tie through each of those holes, just like this. Okay, and now put the zip tie in, and cinch it down, not too tight, but tight enough so that we're able to hold all of these pieces of fabric together, just about like that. I will snip the end off. Okay, so now basically we've got each of these sections here. Okay, you got some holes, and now what we're going to do is we're going to cover those holes up with this final flap. So we just took that middle shark fin and we squished it down, and now it's covering up those holes. So that's the basic shape of the respirator concept, right? And you can test it out. Make sure that it contours pretty well. A couple of other quick steps. So this next one, we have to reinforce the strength of these ears. This is where we're going to be attaching the rubber bands onto. So we're going to fold this over, just like that. We're going to do the same thing for this one. Fold this over, and now we'll take these rubber bands take one of the rubber bands, stick it through, and then go through the center of it. You have one of your pieces. And now we'll do the same thing with this one. Okay, now I'm going to have my wife, Jessica Sigalski, demonstrate how this is worn. Go ahead and put this on. Right over the ears. And so you can see that it has a nice snug contour to the face. It goes around the neck region. And when you put on a pair of safety glasses, the bridge of the safety glasses should keep this nice and tight against the nose. So it's a really contained design. It's designed to fit around all of the contours of the face. Okay, so a couple of caveats about this design. As you probably know, medical devices need to be extensively tested for safety. and efficacy before FDA approves them. This particular design has not gone through that type of rigorous testing. This is really at the concept stage. Nonetheless, in the state where the hospitals and care providers are without any type of PPE, this may be a better alternative than not having anything. We will post all of these designs, the native files. My hope as a medical device engineer is to be able to help with this crisis. My hope is that this will jumpstart some other ideas and get other people thinking about ways that we can get the healthcare system out of this coronavirus crisis that we're in. Thanks for listening, and feel free to shoot me an email if you'd like to discuss anything. Thank you.